through a lot of training and a lot of shows. Accidents do happen. That's a company byline and what everybody's going with in there. But that's a pretty sloppy accident. It cost the company a lot of money. Even if it turns out elevating Becky's stock and star power even more, which it seems to have, and her own, certainly that's not something how you want to get there with, causing a major injury to one of your fellow performers.
No, definitely not. And I mean, not only that, but you completely ruin the storyline. You completely ruin the pay-per-view. All the time it took to, build up all the video packages and everything that goes into building up this match is literally gone because one person, quote unquote, supposedly goes into business for themselves. Now, I'm not saying Nia Jax did that, but what I am saying is, from what I'm seeing, that did not look like an accident to me. That looked like a straight punch to the face. It looked malice. I could be wrong. Perhaps the adrenaline was going crazy. I've been there before where I've, hit people a little too hard because I'm in the moment. But to me, just looking at this, that's not what I see. That's not what I saw.
I think didn't you bloody the mouth of some local wrestler up by Logan Cage, by the name of Logan Cage, right? Didn't you bloody him? You didn't bloody him up in Williams there.
I think he hit him like super bad. Yeah, he's right. He stomped his face into the mat pretty hard and smashed his nose down and put some blood in his mouth.
Whatever happened to that guy, Logan Cage?
I don't know.
Yeah, whatever happened.
I think he's selling insurance now up in Williams. So since he got hit in the mouth, and then he was like, you know what, I'm gonna sell dental insurance to people up here in Williams who don't have teeth.
Yeah, I think he had to have reconstructive mouth surgery, and I don't think we'll ever see him again.
He realized that when he went to Williams for emergency dental surgery, they put wood in his mouth, and he was like, "What the hell?" So he decided to open up a dental office and sell dental insurance, and so that's what he's doing right now. So I'm watching the video, and I will say that it was an accident because I'm watching slow motion, and if you look at the punch coming from Nina, is that her name?
Nia Jax.
Nia, her thumb and her hand is not fully clenched. And when she strikes her across the face, her fingers are actually kind of loose, like you would do if you were going to pop somebody anyways, but you're not going to fully hit them. And her fist is not clenched. And what it looks like is her wrist guard and her hand grazes the side of her face. And when it grazes the side of her face, that's probably why she has the mark, the cut above her nose.
Yeah.
And so it looks like she totally misses her, but she does kind of connect with her pinky and her wrist, and then it kind of comes across her face. So I think it was an accident. I don't think it was malicious, because if you would think that it was malicious, she would have totally clenched her fist for one, totally balled up her fist, and it wouldn't have grazed her. It would have totally connected right to the side of her head. And so when she goes to swing at her, she misses her almost completely. But in her hand's not even clenched, Rock. It's like totally loose. So I think she meant to make it look like a punch, but she actually kind of connected a little bit with the side of her fist. And then I think her with the cut on the side of her face, I think that's what came from there was that wrist thing she's wearing, I think lacerated her side of her face.
But that still doesn't explain the fact that didn't Becky Lynch have a concussion after this? Wasn't that the whole reason why
she had a concussion besides the I don't know if it broke or no. It didn't dislocate her nose or anything, but because she's coming out, but she's still not wearing a face guard yet. So I'll guess remains to be seen when she actually gets in the ring again. But yeah, her face was pretty messed up the next night when she had to choose Charlotte as her replacement. I think it was just a sloppy hairs in the way. Girls are full of adrenaline. I think it was more sloppiness than anything. It's just accidents, like Rock was saying, and you're costing the company a lot of money. Accidents like that shouldn't be happening on the pro level. I mean, it's one thing. I don't know about you guys because we've all dabbled in, to various degrees in the sport of wrestling. But the one thing I tried never to do is punch people directly in the face. There's an art to it.
Here's what I'm going to tell you guys right now, and this is going to catch a lot of shit from me. This is why girls shouldn't wrestle. Because if it was a guy and they took a shot to the face, that guy would have jumped up and totally reacted differently. But instead, they got to cry about their nose. They're crying about their makeup. They're crying about what they're going to look like for picture shoots. I get it. Guys don't do that. Stone Cold Steve Austin got dropped straight on his head, man, broke his neck, and he finished the match. And you know what? And there was no apologies. And Owen Hart didn't sit there and say it was an accident. It was just, it's part of the dangerous of being in the ring, And a girl like that, big girl like that, she just turned around, bopped her in the face. You either take it and just keep wrestling or get out of the business. They always need ring girls. Ring girls are still around.
Well, the one thing I will disagree with you on, Jamie, is knowing the way Becky Lynch's character.
Gesture. It's gesture, you son of a bitch. Now you're going to get my name out, and everybody's looking at me up.
Coach Jester.
There you go. Now you fucking crossed the line, you son of a bitch. You crossed the line. I'm going to give you a receipt, you son of a bitch. If I was here right now, I'd punch you right in the face.
Hey, I'm not the one who just insulted all the entire women of that. They're going to, once they hear this, they're going to be knocking on your door.
Yeah, okay. Come find me.
So, in defense, not of what you said, because you're entitled to your own opinion, Becky Lynch's character is kind of Stone Cold-esque, and she actually her character came across as wanting to wrestle still, but she's not cleared, so she didn't bitch and moan and complain about that, which is cool, because that's what I think helps her character in the long run more than the loss she would have taken probably, and this is hypothetically, she would have probably lost to Ronda Rousey, especially considering Raw swept them anyways. It just may have turned out as pinfall or submission loss. So I think in that regards, Becky Lynch's character isn't doing any type of complaining. It's not like the glamorous model like half the roster kind of still is. Becky is like the scrapper of the women's division. I think even when they tried to make her the heel in this past Tuesday on SmackDown, it's pretty apparent that they're kind of embracing that Stone Cold tweener type of attitude from her, where they know that the fans are going to cheer her no matter what she does. All
right, so I'm just gonna put a little disclaimer here. Gesture is a comedian, so everything that come out of my mouth, unless it's about comedy, is all full of shit. So I like to get MC riled up because he's a true wrestling fan, and he defends the women. He loves women wrestling. He loves women wrestling in lingerie. He loves women wrestling wearing costumes. He likes the girls when they come out in their cosplay. So everything I said is just full of shit, and I got to give it to them. They are making it a lot better, but nothing's better than the era of the Attitude Era when we used to have women doing backflips and shit, man. Because we had some serious women's wrestler back then.
I want to get Rock's thoughts on what you said. That's
So I have 2 points to make. First off, with you, Jester. I mean,
we only have time. We only have time for 1 point, so only 1 point. Okay. No, I'm just joking. You can make 2 points. Go ahead. We'll give you 2 points.
We got a part 2 coming up. It's all
go good. Look back at the Royal Rumble where last year, where Braun Strowman knees Brock Lesnar right in the face. Brock immediately gets up, gives him the 2 shot, 1 solid punch to the stomach and a solid punch right to the side of the head. Both those guys get up and keep fighting. There's no crying. There's no whining afterwards.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Brock Lesnar, a legit UFC world heavyweight. Punches the dude, nearly knocks Braun Strowman out. Braun Strowman is in stars the rest of this match. So, to your point, I can completely see that.
And then he told him to slow the fuck down too, right? He told him hey, because he was like blowing up the match, like in the beginning of the match, he was like blowing up real fast.
Yeah, exactly. And he's moving way too fast, and Brock put him right down in his place, and there was no crying or anything like that afterwards. The match continued on, and that was the end of that, So I can see your point to an extent, but. The women's wrestling, in my opinion, this is the best it's ever been. To your credit, MC, Becky Lynch is the hottest act right now in the women's division, no questions about it. She is the Stone Cold Steve Austin of the women's division. And honestly, I think her storyline and what's going on is one of the best things going on in WWE right now, which WWE doesn't have a lot going on for them right now.
She had a line last night as we recorded this, probably give away exactly the time frame, but the last past SmackDown, all the girls are vying for contention to get into this TLC match, which is the next pay-per-view coming up. She had a hilarious line from last night when all the girls are wanting their shots. She's like, in her Irish accent, form a line. I'll slap the head off every one of you dopes. I was dying laughing. Just whatever Becky's channeling right now, it's good stuff. It's arguably some of the best stuff on all of WWE TV right now, considering there's just way too many hours of programming, and Becky's one of the bright spots for sure.
Definitely. I 100% agree.
Do we want to continue this on a part two?
No, we still got about 5 minutes, so go for it.
Yeah, so I guess we can bust it down in the second part, but just to set this all up, so we got the Enzo garbage aside, we set it up with the Becky injury, setting up Charlotte and Ronda, and if we want to mention really quick, we are also supposed to get a AJ Styles Brock Lesnar rematch, which was pretty entertaining main event from the previous year, but that got replaced, Rock, by Daniel Bryan surprisingly winning the title from AJ Styles and heading into this event. Then we had AJ completely left off the storyline, written off the show, and it became Daniel Bryan versus Brock Lesnar as the main event.
So I want to get your guys. I want to get your guys' take on AJ Styles. You think that he's a quality wrestler? I mean, he kind of jumps around from fed to fed. Do you think that he's? What do you think of guy? What do you think of him actually? I mean,
go ahead, Rob.
I think AJ Styles is the best in the business right now. I mean, from a straight wrestler, hands down, the best in the business right now.
Yeah, I think what we've learned later after this, because we were flabbergasted that AJ wasn't even on this card. I think he's just suffering probably from, he was champ, I think, 371 days. And they did a whole special on it, too, on the WWE Network as well. One of their 365, documentaries, which followed him for that year since he won it. And I think it just shows the injuries, the taxing part of being away from his family. He's got a contract renewal coming up, and I think that all that's a part of it, too. And I think he's looking for a reduced schedule. He puts it all on the line. I think we can safely say, no matter what, whether he's been in Impact Wrestling, New Japan, just like Jester is saying, like he has jumped around a little bit. He's been in Ring of Honor, but I think this is where he's going to finish his career off. I think they'll come to an agreement. Clearly, when you watch him, he's the Shawn Michaels of this generation. What the hang time he can get on that flying forearm, just incredible amounts of things he can do in that ring. I know it's been stated many times, even in the documentary, what Vince McMahon told AJ to kind of motivate him is, we have people that can do what you do. What I need is a pit bull. Well, Vince was probably motivating him to be something extra, but there is not a whole lot of guys that can do what AJ Styles, and dare I say, there are guys that can't do what AJ Styles can do it as well, and definitely not as beautiful of a fine form I think that I've ever seen. So this guy is the best. This guy is, if you're talking about the best in the world, like they did with the World Cup, AJ Styles, clear as day, is the best wrestler in the world, in my opinion.
Yeah, I 100% agree.
You heard it here on Me Podcast. You listen, the greatest wrestler in the world.
AJ Styles.
Yes, right now, by far. So, yeah, it was a shame he was left off this card, and when we go to part two and we bust down match by match, he was sort of missed. But I think learning what we learned after the fact, there was a reason why he was. I think he requested to drop the strap to Daniel Bryan. I think he just maybe some stuff missing for him at home, and I think some stuff to reevaluate this type of road schedule, because this past year had been grueling. He made every live event. He was all over the world, and Vince, we chronicled even here on this podcast the amount of time that times